Gentrification, just the very word, suggests people being forced out of an old, run-down neighborhood and so that wealthier people can move in. But does gentrification always hurt the original inhabitants of a neighborhood, or can it sometimes benefit them as well? Jasmin Guénette is the VP of the Montreal Economic Institute, and he's co-authored a study on gentrification. Welcome, Mr. Guénette.
Nice being here.
Nice to have you. So, you know, we think about vandalism in neighborhoods like Saint-Henri, the Southwest, and Hochelaga, Maisonneuve.
Yes.
People angry about this. This we've seen quite a bit of in the last few years. Is that what prompted you to look at this?
Absolutely. And people should not be angry about gentrification. We should embrace gentrification because what it does, it reversing the economic decline of those neighborhoods. So before gentrification, for example, in Hochelaga, Maisonneuve, there were many stores that were not occupied. Many businesses have moved out of that specific neighborhood. And what gentrification does is one thing, it's reversing the economic decline of those neighborhoods. So we should welcome gentrification and not being opposed to.
But certain people are pushed out of the neighborhoods, right? They can no longer afford the rents, and there's a lot of condos being built. It does have some negative effects, doesn't it, on those people?
Yes, but massive disinvestment in those neighborhoods will push more people out of these neighborhoods. In fact, gentrification keeps many of the poorer people in those neighborhoods because it has many advantages and benefits, such as increasing social diversity, people coming from different backgrounds interacting with each other. Gentrification also has a richer, allows for a richer neighborhood life, more parks, more services.
More diversity?
More diverse.
Different kinds of people?
Absolutely. Also, it creates more employment opportunities, and especially for the poorer people. So it's not the case that with gentrification people will tend to move out of those neighborhoods. It's actually the contrary. People tend to stay in, and people tend to move in as well. What we have seen is so positive with Hochelaga Maisonneuve is that that neighborhood, for many years, people were not interested in moving back to Hochelaga Maisonneuve, and now we see people moving back to that neighborhood. It's quite fantastic, actually.
But does the city have responsibility, though, to make sure that there is that diversity of economic, incomes, that you can still keep the people that were there and save enough space for them in social housing? I mean, that's a responsibility, right? Is that being done enough?
Not enough.
Okay.
If zoning laws become too restrictive, it limits the supply of rental units. So what we need to make sure is to have flexible zoning laws, flexible laws for land use, for example, to make sure that we have an increase in rental supply, and that would make those little problems that we see with the housing market and the housing rental be diminished by good public policy regarding zoning regulation.
So gentrification gets a bit of a bad rap as far as you're concerned. There's some good to it as well?
There are many benefits to gentrification. We see in Hochelaga Maisonneuve and Saint-Henri, for example, middle-class people moving to those neighborhoods, young professionals, young entrepreneurs.
New life, basically.
New life, yes.
To an area that otherwise was dying.
Yeah, and that area needs that new breath of life.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Guénette, for coming in today. And if people want to check out your study, I guess they can go on to the Montreal Economic Institute's website.
Absolutely.
And read it in full.
It's all there.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.